Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Miss K Teaches Math. This is episode 8 today. But today we are outside in my backyard getting a little bit of fresh air, some sun. Hopefully you guys are getting outside of the house too and enjoying the nice weather that we're having. But today what we are going to do is start chapter 12, which is our next lesson. We are going to be covering what's called polynomials. So it should be exciting. So you're going to need notebooks, pencil, calculator. All right, let's go do this. Come on. All right, guys, still outside giving you guys some notes. Before we start, though, I thought you guys like to see our special guest. There he is. It's my dog. So Cody and I are going to help give you guys some notes today. Say hi, Code. All right, guys. So today our notes are going to be actually on our newest section, which is going to be chapter 12. And the focus of chapter 12, again, is what's called polynomials. So like I said, follow along in your notes, write it down so you guys have something to refer back to later. But let's go ahead and let's start. So if any of you guys are keeping up with your table of contents, we are going to add our next section. And today our focus is going to be 12.1. And again, that's going to be polynomials. All right, so the first thing you need to know is that polynomial is basically an expression. And you guys have seen this before, so I will go ahead and write this down. So it is an expression. Polynomial can be broken down into a couple different things. You might see it referred to as a monomial. And monomial just meaning that there's one term. So a monomial might be something like 5. It might be something like 5x, maybe 5x squared. But you notice that there's one term, so there's nothing that's being added or subtracted. So that's still a polynomial. It's still some sort of expression. All right, another type of monomial that you'll see is what's called a binomial. And then binomial meaning 2. So there are 2 terms here. So we might have something like this, 5 plus x, maybe 5 plus x squared. So again, you'll notice that there are 2 terms. There's a 5 and then there's an x, and they're being put together by that plus or maybe a minus sign. All right, and then the other one that is common is what's called a trinomial. And you guessed it, trinomial meaning 3. So there are 3 terms here. Maybe that's something like x squared minus 5x plus 6. So you notice that there are 3 terms that are combined with that plus or minus sign. So this is a trinomial. Now, a polynomial might have more than just 3 terms. For example, we might have something like this. 10x to the third plus 6x squared plus 5x plus 10. So this is still a polynomial, but again, what you'll notice here is this one actually has 4 parts. It has 1, 2, 3, and 4. And so something like this might just be referred to as a 4-term polynomial. All right, and so again, just remember, polynomial just refers to an expression. The first thing that we want to talk about, though, with our polynomials is being able to simplify them. All right, good. So let's get back to the notes. So we're going to be simplifying polynomials. So what you're doing when you simplify polynomials is you're going to be looking for the terms that are the same. And so we actually worked on this previously, so combining like terms here. So for example, let's say we have something like this, 2a plus 5a squared plus 10a minus 3a squared. All right, so when we simplify here, again, what that means is that we are really looking to combine our like terms. So again, terms that are the same. So in this case here, and I'll go ahead and move my mouse, I think you guys can see it. You have a, and then you have a squared. So those are not the same. Yes, they are both a's, but remember with that squared, it makes it different. And so we only want to combine the ones that are exactly the same. So if it helps to highlight, if it helps to box or circle, then do that. But in this case, we would combine our a. So we have two a's here, so maybe 2 apples. And then here we have 10. And notice I took the sign when I boxed it though, because it is a positive. So I had 2a plus 10a. So 2 apples plus 10 apples, that would give me 12a or 12 apples. Okay, I'll do the same with the a squares because remember, they are different. So in this case here, I have positive 5a squares and then negative 3a squares. So again, take that sign with it. So this problem is telling me I have 5a squares, and then I'm taking away 3a squares, which would leave me then with 2a squares. All right, and then think about the sign though. So it's positive, and so we're gonna indicate that with a plus sign. All right, hopefully that made sense. I'm gonna go ahead and give you guys an example to try too. All right, so again, here we are going to combine the ones that are the same. So in this case, you're going to combine your m squares, and then you're going to combine your n squares. So I'll give you guys a second to go ahead and try that. All right, hopefully you guys got the same answer as me, so let's go ahead and check that. So on this problem here, my m squares, I'm going to point out that you actually have multiple m squares. I have a positive 5m squared. I have a negative 10m squared. And then I have a positive 2m squared. So let's go ahead and combine them. So 5m squared minus 10m squared is going to give me negative 5m. And then plus 2 is going to give me negative 3m squared. All right, and then take a look at your second term. Those are our n squares. There's nothing to combine it with, so you're going to leave it the same. So we're going to leave that 7n squared. And again, it is positive, so you're going to show that with a plus sign there. All right. Now, let's talk about a couple things when we are combining or simplifying our polynomial. All right, so one thing that's going to be important so that we all have the same answers when we're working with polynomials is making sure that we're putting them in the correct order. Now, when we write a polynomial, you're going to be putting it in what's called descending order. So I'm going to write that out for you. So descending order. All right, and what that means is you are going to put that in ABC order. So meaning that if you have a problem that has different letters, for example, let's look at our last one. This one here, we had M's and we had N's. You are going to put the one that comes first in the alphabet. So if you think about your alphabet, you're going to go with the one that comes first. So in this case here, M comes before N, so you would actually leave it like that. Negative 3m squared plus 7n squared. So that is actually already written in descending order. Now, in the case that you only have one variable, for example, x, you have to make sure that the highest exponent is first. So what I mean by that is let's go ahead and take a look at that first example we did here. Notice this problem we had a's. A is the only variable here, so ABC order doesn't matter. But think about, again, the exponents. Exponents meaning what is that value that's on that A. So in this case, we have a 2. Our exponent is a 2. And so that would go first because the 2 is higher than that invisible 1 that's right here. So in descending order, we would write this as 2a squared. And then this term is a positive 12. So we'll show that with a plus sign, plus 12a, or a to the first. And so again, that's our descending order. And we want to make sure that all of our terms are rewritten in descending order. All right, so make sure that that makes sense. Now, I'm going to give you guys a couple more examples. Go ahead and try them. Think about your signs when you're adding, and then also, again, think about that descending order when you write that final answer. So I am going to be looking for that. So here we go. Try these out. Kind of a mixture there. So we have some problems that have just x's, but different exponents. And in that second example, we have problems that have different variables and different exponents. So go ahead and try that. All right, guys, so I'll go ahead and give you guys the answers. In the first problem here, notice we only have one x squared, so there is nothing to combine that with. So I'm going to leave that the same, negative 5x squared. I'm then going to go ahead and take a look at my x's. And these are just regular x's. So remember, there's no exponent on it, so you can combine those. I have 6x and a positive 2x. So 6 x-ray machines and 2 x-ray machines, that would give me 8 x-ray machines. And it's positive, so you're going to show that with the plus sign. And then the last thing that we'll combine is our numbers. And so negative 15, again, take the sign with that. Notice there's nothing to combine it with, so then that will go at the end. All right, and again, that's going to be in our descending order. And how we can tell, again, is first we do our x squares, which are right here, followed by just regular x in the middle, and then the number will go at the end. So that is descending order. Hopefully you guys got that. All right, our second one, let's go ahead and combine this one. So this one is a little bit more challenging in the sense that it has more terms to look at. All right, let's start with y's. So here I have 12 y's. See if there's any other y's you can combine it with. And in this case right here, again, take that sign, so it's positive. 12y and 14y is going to give me 26. So that would be 26y. All right, let's go ahead and look at our x's now. So again, take the sign though. Here I have negative 10x, and here I have negative 3x. And what I want to remind you is that you are combining. So remember, you are combining. Think about what the word combining means. So it means to add. So in this problem, you would have something like this, negative 10x, and I'm adding this negative 3x. So hopefully you guys are getting the signs right. Here you would have negative 13x. So this would be minus 13x. And again, make sure to put that sign there. All right, and then the last term we have here, it looks to be just this y squared. Notice there's nothing else to combine it with, so we're going to keep it as is. So it is a positive, so plus 2y squared. All right, and that is our answer. Now, hopefully you thought, though, I need to put this in descending order. And so I'm going to quickly remind you, though, with descending order, we talked about two things, though. So one was ABC order, and then the other one was exponent value. Exponent meaning the highest one goes first. Now, in this problem here, what I'm going to point out to you guys is that you actually have a couple different things. You have different letters, and then you have different exponents. So when that happens, ABC order goes first. So again, follow kind of this as a list. Go in ABC order. So X, Y, Z. So any term that has an X is going to go first, which is right here. So again, take the sign with it. This is a negative 13. So I'm going to go ahead and put negative 13x. All right. ABC order is X, and then Y comes next. All right. Notice here you have two Y's. You have a 26y and a 2y squared. So you actually have two Y's here, here and here. When that happens, think about, again, descending order. The next thing you look at is exponents. So if you have two things with y's, whatever one has the highest exponent goes first. So in this case, this guy right here, he has a higher exponent. 2 is higher than that 1. So then you would do again, bring the sign, plus 2y squared, and then that 26y would be last. All right, notice that there is no sign on it though. Remember, this is an expression, so we want to put in the sign. This is a positive here, so indicate that with your plus sign, so plus 26y. All right, and so again, that is your final polynomial in descending order, so make sure that you're watching that order. All right, guys, the last thing that we're going to take a look at that you're going to see with polynomials is distributive property. We have seen that before, so watch out for that. But let me go ahead and do one example of that just to kind of refresh your mind of what that looks like. So again, last thing today is distributive property. All right, and what distributive property looks like is this. For example, it's when we had something like, let's do 15 and then parentheses, let's do 2x minus 3x squared. All right, distributive property is when you take that term that is in front of the parenthesis like that, and then you're going to go ahead and distribute it to both terms inside, and it is multiplying. So in this case, it would be 15 times 2, so multiplying the numbers. So that would give me 30, and then you're going to keep the x. And then you're going to go ahead and do 15 times this 3. Take the sign. So 15 times negative 3. So again, take the sign with it, which is going to be negative 45. And then keep the ending, x squared. All right, think about descending order and how you would rewrite that. Hopefully you are saying, Ms. K, you should rewrite it as negative 45x squared and then plus 30x. And you would be right. Because again, descending order is telling us that the x squared comes first. Look at again the sign, take that sign with it, negative. And then remember this 30 is positive, so you're going to show that with a plus sign. All right, let's look at maybe a couple more examples with distributive property. Okay. Watch for a problem like this. Let's say here we have a negative 4 times 2x minus 6 and then plus 3. Okay, the first thing that I want to point out to you guys is with distributive property, as a reminder, you only distribute to the parentheses. So only here, not this 3. This 3 is added secondary. So again, just distribute to the parentheses. So a problem like this, you're going to distribute and take the sign, the negative 4 to both terms. This would become negative 4 times 2, which is going to be negative 8. Don't forget your sign. This is going to be negative 4 times, and again, watch here. Take the sign, negative 4 times negative 6. Sorry, guys. There he is. Cody, we're trying to teach them math. See, he's telling you don't forget the sign also. Yep, it's important. All right, so again, negative 4 times negative 6, watch those signs, is going to become a positive 24. After you distribute that here, so again, the distributing is happening here. This is secondary, and this is going to come down after that. So then this plus 3 comes down. All right, so again, in this case, you can combine your numbers. So you have that 24 and you have a 3. They're both positive. So when you simplify this, what you end up getting here is going to be 27. And then bring down that rest of that problem, negative 8x. And so this would be your simplified expression. All right. How do you guys feel about that? Thumbs up? Hope so. I am going to leave you guys with this, though, kind of as a reminder and what you can look forward to as we move into our next section. Let's say we have negative 3x times 2x plus 5. All right, so as we look ahead, one thing I want to remind you of is actually distributing with a variable. Now, we looked at this all the way back in chapter 4, but it was when we multiplied, let's say, for example, x times x. Do you guys remember what that is? It's not 2x. Hopefully you guys are remembering that it is x squared. Likewise, if I had maybe something like this, x to the second times x, remember there's that invisible 1 there? What we did was we added those exponents. 1 and 1 was 2. So in this case, if I was multiplying this, 2 and 1 would be, again, adding x to the third, because this is x times x here, and then times x would give me 3. So again, you won't see this on today's assignment, but as we move forward, you will eventually see this again. So when you're distributing that variable, what you're going to do is multiply your number by number. So in this case, it would be -3 and 2, so -6, and then letter times letter. So x times x would be x squared. And then again, when you take this and it goes to that second term, number times number, -3 times 5 would be -15. And then letter times letter. So in this case, there's only one x, so you're going to indicate that by leaving x like that. So again, won't do that on this homework assignment, but coming up you will. So hopefully that makes sense. All right, guys, that should be enough to get you guys through the homework. I'm going to have Cody say bye to you. Hopefully we were very helpful to you today and that Cody taught you a lot about math. All right, say bye, Code. Who wants to do your homework, guys? All right, guys, that's it for this episode. Make sure to turn on those notifications so that you know when our next episode is out. Tune in next week, though, as well. We will have a special guest joining us. All right, guys, stay safe. Have a good weekend, and I will see you next week. All right, bye, guys.